Keith Jarrett's The Köln concert is a legendary modern classic. It's an improvised concert that was held on the 24th of January 1975 in Cologne in Germany. And the recording of that concert went on to be the best-selling album of a solo jazz musician in history, with I think nearly 4 million sales worldwide. The full concert is around 1 hour and it's mainly 3 parts and then like an encore at the end. And in this video I am gonna look at part 1, play through the music and do some comments about how I feel that he creates this truly magical music, how it is achieved with some mechanisms and the usual stuff that I do here. But I would assume that you are somewhat familiar with this music already, because there is a score, but I won't show it because of copyright reasons. It's not in the public domain. So if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's on Spotify with the original. I have also done a music video where I give my interpretation of it, and it's a great video production by Adrian Eriksson that we did. So this transcription, it's done by 2 Japanese guys that's done the tedious task of transcribing the whole concert into notes. They are Yukiko Kishinami and Kunihiko Yamashita. And I'm indebted to them because I wouldn't have been able to learn it without the score as a classical musician. So Keith Jarrett kind of gives his blessing to this transcription, but he also says that you need to listen to the recording. So he writes in a preface here about the transcription. So we are looking at, let us say, a picture of an improvisation, sort of like a print of a painting. You cannot see the depth in it, only the surface. As a result of this, I am recommending that every pianist who intends to play the Köln concert use the recording as the final word reference. Good luck. And it's interesting when you look at the score. It reads kind of like a Bach score, because it's no markings and no dynamics. So in a way you can feel there's some room, but then of course you need to listen to, like if you're gonna play it like I do, I listen to Keith Jarrett and I understand what the direction is for the music and his ideas, but then maybe I can find some of my own. It can still be contained within the score, as we have with the Bach music. Now, if we start to look at the big picture, I would say there's 4 major sections with like different contents and ideas in them. First is the introduction, that's like 3 minutes in the recording, where it kind of starts out and tries out some different things, and there's one motif that's a rhythmic motif, like a rhythm that goes through the whole introduction. Then the next section I call the A section. That's like the biggest chunk of the whole piece. There's one idea in there that's going between the 2 chords A minor and G major, and you almost get into this hypnotic state, just savoring those chords. Then in the end of that, there's like a breaking point where the next section starts. I call the B section, which is much more freer and kind of exploratory and experimental. So it moves harmonically, even though it's like a slower section of the piece compared to some of the energy that's in the end of the A section. But like more things are happening under the surface on the B section. And then the final C section is a bit simpler in a way. It's basically only 2 chords again. It's A major, A in the bass, and A and also D with A in the bass, and 1 ostinato. And just like 3 or 4 minutes with the same thing, small variations on that ostinato, ending the whole piece in a big climax and ecstasy. So the start is these notes. This great like emblematic start. So these notes are actually the signal bell for the opera house. I suppose, I haven't heard them myself, but I suppose they are like these notes, but more like maybe something like that. And then Keith Jarrett just grabs that theme from the air, what they just heard before the concert started, when the audience came into the concert hall. He just takes it. And if you listen carefully in the recording, you can actually hear the audience is laughing just after these first motifs. Let it sound out. And getting the pulse with this D. Now, take the same motif but slightly expanded. And this is the first A minor chord with a ninth. Now he's basically trying out some different chords here. And this motif, it's not these notes anymore. The motif is going to be a rhythm that comes soon. Now F major 7th or major 7th and 9th. Going to a G major. This is the first G major in the piece, an important chord. Now back to A minor. So already now we're kind of establishing the harmonic pulse that's going to be present for basically the start of the introduction and then the whole A section, and it's like 2 bars per chord. So like slowly going between the chords. Now we're starting to get this rhythm that's going to be present for the introduction. Here we kind of get it, the core rhythm. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. So we have it kind of in the F major 7th, 9th chord. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. I just play it again. So these rhythms are kind of somewhere close to the core rhythm. This is E minor now, slightly new chord. And now the best thing. So going down to D major, and here we have these upbeats that are like a signifier for Keith Jarrett in particular and jazz in general, I suppose. And it's like in every style of music you have these conventions, and especially on the surface level like this ornament style. In this style we have these kind of ornaments, and they're gonna be present throughout the whole piece, and it's just something to get used to in the style. This is especially for me as a classical pianist coming from a whole different perspective. I can just think of it like, instead of in Bach you would have those kind of ornaments. Now here we have these kind of ornaments. Also I will return to the ornament in the A section. It's really spectacular what he does there. But here we have this, it's kind of so much fun, joy in this music. Now a longer chord here, and you're counting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A lift on the 4. Now we're starting to get this rhythm like constantly. G major now. E minor. And these kind of raw pop chords. Moving somewhere harmonically, but moving back. Oh no, somewhere new. Now just continuing down. It's a crescendo here and finally reaching the high point again, which is a G major after this kind of a dissonant modal 5th and 4th. Back to A minor. Here we have these two chords, there's a great detail here on the recording. He lifts up the pedal in a very loud fashion, like you never do when you play beautiful music, but this is more raw music, so you get this. I think it really adds something here when you, because it's like it's just fun. But here suddenly it gets like really beautiful, almost like a classical piece here. So you get these suspensions. So it's actually a sus chords. C sus to F. Now again A sus, resolving to just a beautiful like a melody going through a lot of different harmony, like modulating harmonies here. It's a favorite moment here, the D major. Okay, so here we reach like the final part of the introduction. Now we get a pedal on B, and we get some long notes in the right hand we're gonna get soon. And then a lot of like busy things in the middle voices here. And it's 12 bars of this, and it's a hard place to memorize because it's very similar but slightly different every bar. So yeah, it takes a lot of work to do that. Okay, so here we have the pedal part. Get kind of Phrygian vibes here with the E and the F. B is kind of part of E maybe. You can kind of feel it coming to an end here. So here we finally reach, this is what I would call the beginning of the next major section, the A section. So it starts with this A minor. Thanks for watching Sonata Secrets. The Patreon shoutout in this episode goes to Margie.